So the 6 elements are, what are the elements of a good forecast? They include, it should be timely. A certain amount of time is needed to respond to the information contained in a forecast. Notice that I was telling you for ESS again, because I sort of roughly remember this, they would do something like a quarterly forecast. We can't forecast, like today and say, okay, well, next week, what's our forecast? Know that on the basis of experience in this one company, ESS Technology, which was in Fremont and that sold to East Asia predominantly, we saw that the better forecast would be based on a 3-month or based on 3 months of data. So, and one element of a good forecast is that it needs to respond to information and based on a reasonable period of time. Second, accurate. Degree of accuracy of a forecast should be stated. So, like in the case of the Disney, with its remarkable 5% deviation, meaning it's usually accurate in terms of forecasting how many visitors are going to come in a week. It underestimates or overestimates usually by no more than 5%, which is an incredible rate. So you want to know how good on average is your forecast. Can it only be accurate based on the data that you have, only to a degree of being no better than, this is about accurate 60% of the time, meaning 40% of the time it's wrong. So that's quite a deviation, right? But in some cases, that may be the best that you can do in terms of evaluating whether an individual forecaster is good or an individual forecast is good or not. You want to know, well, what's the degree of accuracy historically or that in general that we can assume for this particular forecast. Third element of a good forecast is that it should be reliable. The results of the forecast should apply consistently. So, and this is really so obvious. What if you had a forecast that was good for 6 months of the year, but for some unknown reason, the latter 6 months of the year, it was useless or not very accurate? So let's put numbers on it. Let's say in the first 6 months of the year, whatever forecast you're using, your data show that it's usually good 85% of the time. So it still has a 15% error, which is not good, but not altogether bad. It's still useful 85% of the time. But after the 6 months, you're only getting a 30% accuracy rate, and 70% of the time, it's no good. So you almost might, I'm not sure, you almost might say, well, you know what? We might as well guess 50%. 50% of the time I'm going to be right, 50% of the time I'm being wrong. But it's better than 30% accuracy, which 70% of the time I'm going to be wrong. I think that's correct the way I'm describing that. So, but the point being about what constitutes a good forecast, it needs to be reliable. Can I really use this for an extended period, or is it so inaccurate? It's not really clear. And I will go back now. I'll tell you the reality of the case at ESS, where I remember hearing the CEO discuss the situation, and he would say something like, well, the forecast, well, I'll describe it in these terms. It's one data point. That's kind of weird to say, meaning that, yes, we look at it, we seriously consider it, but its accuracy, I'm putting words now in their mouths, that is sometimes questionable. Sometimes it's good and oftentimes it's not. So this is why I think I shared with you, I remember hearing where even the CEO and others who were involved directly in the activity of forecasting for the corporation, they would say something to the effect that, well, it's really like magic, and sometimes the magic works and sometimes it doesn't. So this gets to that reliability. Is your forecast reliable? Another, a fourth measure of or characteristic of a good forecast, it's in meaningful units.